so we'll be ready when they are. Important to note, which has been popping up, every now and then in these red-green decks, is Temple Garden. And Temple Garden is basically just a forest for the deck. They can also cast Boros Reckoner. I know sometimes people get a little confused about why that's in the deck. Steve, on the play here, leads off with a Rakdos Cackler.
Yep, pretty good start for him. Any one drop is great, but the Cackler is one of the best.
Yeah. One of the cooler things about this matchup is whether or not you draw shock lands versus basic lands in the early parts of the game, because those few life points actually matter on occasion. If you start off with Mountains and Rootbound Crag, that's much better than starting off. It's much worse than starting off with like Swamp into Dragon Skull Summon, which what we see here. So it's almost like Adam kind of won the play because he got to do 2 extra damage.
Right, and now he'll crack in for 2 with his Diregraph. And
trigger from the Exalted, so he's going to go down to 15.
There we go.
All right, no 2-drop, though, from Steve Kaufmann. No removal spell. A little odd. That means he's probably got a hand with Boros Reckoner, and it looks like that's about to come down here and hopefully shut down the team from Adam.
Yep, another Crag, and here it comes.
Yep. Unfortunately, Boros Reckoner is half white, so the Knight of Infamy is going to be able to crack through without a block from the Boros Reckoner. So Steve already down to 12 here. This looks like it's going to be a lightning-fast match.
Yeah, and the 2 from the shock land, you can easily see how that is going to matter. I mean, even now, 3 from the Knight 4 times.
Yep. And here comes Big Papa Jeroff. Gonna deal him 2 down to 10. Yeah, it's looking pretty good for Adam here. I mean, Steve could play a Hellrider here or something. If he has a couple of spells that maybe like a Lightning Mauler and another guy to give him haste, he can turn the tide. But he is at 10 already, and he's looking at 7 points of damage on the board just from Adam alone. And if Adam plays, a Falconwrath Aristocrat or something like that, he's just going to take the skies, and it's going to be really hard for Steve to win. So no Hellrider. Looks like he does have a Gore Clan Rampager should Adam decide to block. I don't know if he actually should block. It's pretty close. If all he wants to do is attack with the Knight of Infamy, since the Boros Reckoner on the other side is posing, that looming threat for the rest of his creatures, I could see him blocking here. Even if he gets Rampager, he only goes to 12, and Steve uses most of his turn to do so.
Right. I definitely think I like that block with all the burn that Steve has, with all the, basically reach that Steve has. It seems good to block here.
Right. And I would definitely just hold back Gerald's Messenger to block here, since the Boros Reckoner is that huge threat. If he draws a Victim of Night, I could definitely see attacking. Maybe a Tragic Slip too, so you could just do it after combat damage. Like, you don't mind taking a little bit from the Boros Reckoner, and he doesn't have the extra mana up to give it first strike, so you would be trading off while taking just 3 damage here. So.
Ooh, and Pillar comes down on the Stromkirk Noble, clears out one of the blockers.
Yep, and that makes sure that he can't just chump block the Knight of Infamy should he want to. Personally there, I think I would have attacked with the Gyros Messenger. If he wants to Boros Reckoner, he's still going to take 2 from the Knight and then another 2 from Messenger. Messenger's going to be a 4/3. I can understand, not wanting to just get your creatures, your field shrunk,
Right. But instead, the Messenger will be on D, maybe to block the Cackle or something like that. Steve Kaufmann looking at a Boros Reckoner in play, a Cackler in play, another Cackler in hand.
Yeah, it seems like Boros Reckoner really likes the D.
Yeah, he does.
So Adam, pretty far ahead right now. It seems like Steve really needs to have something besides this Rakdos Cackler to really pull ahead. A Hellrider would be phenomenal, though, he really just wants a creature to be able to block and trade with Knight of Infamy, but there aren't that many things in his deck. Looks like he's gripping a Firefish Striker and maybe a Lightning Mauler. I see another red card, I think. He's been missing land drops, so he's probably going to unleash the Rakdos Cackler, and then I assume just play the Firefish Striker and try to trade with the Knight of Infamy.
Oh, wow, look at this. He just says go.
Yeah.
No tax at all, not even with the Cackler. He can't afford to lose those 2 points of life from the Messenger here.
Yeah, not without, getting some major damage in with a Boros Reckoner. And looks like Adam forgot to untap a Swamp. I'm sure he'll notice in just a moment. Untap it.
Miss trigger.
Yeah.
Tap Swamp.
Stays tapped forever. Yeah, so... this actually doesn't happen all that much in these aggro mirror matches that are just, especially zombies versus mono red. It doesn't usually come down to both players just saying go, with a bunch of creatures untapped. It's kind of strange to see this. Boris Reckoner does that a lot though, where it forces one person to just like sit back, and then when both players, don't really have boards that match up well against the other one. I mean, this is something that you're going to see on occasion.
Right.
Most of the time, though, when you're playing cards with Unleash, you're playing cards that can't block, such as like Gravecrawler, or things that come into play tapped, like Jarros Messenger. The blocking aspect of this just doesn't happen very often. So
Right. Both these decks are pretty bad at blocking.
yeah. So Steve opting out of the trade with the Boros Reckoner and being able to kill the Diregraph Ghoul. I don't know if I actually agree with that, but he would go down to 5. He knows that Adam doesn't have like Brimstone Volley or anything, so I feel like, since that Night of Infamy is kind of shutting him down, maybe he should have just went ahead and blocked and got rid of the Diregraph Ghoul. But I guess, he thought it was more important to make sure that he could like turn on Firefist Striker should he draw a removal spell or something like that. If he has a way to get rid of the Night of Infamy here and then turn all his guys sideways, make the Diregraph Ghoul not be able to block, Adam has to peel a haste creature or a burn spell, really to get the job done.
Yeah, and it's pretty interesting. Adam has 3 Thundermaw Hellkite and 4 Falkenrath Aristocrat. None of these have made an appearance, but any of them, if they do, are pretty much game over if Steve doesn't have removal.
Yeah, Adam really close to the vest with his hand. We can't see anything. I would very much like to know what his last few cards are. It's probably a land and maybe a Tragic Slip or something, but I feel like if he had the Tragic Slip, he would have just drawn it or something. I don't know. Maybe it's just a pair of lands. I can't really think. It's possible it's like a Searing Spear, and he just trying to get Steve down to a low enough life total where the spear will kill him, and he doesn't really want to use it on any of the other creatures, since Boros Reckoner is kind of a pain at the moment.
Yeah, but what Adam really wants to draw here is a Thundermaw Hellkite. If he does, the game will be pretty much put away.
Yeah, he would be able to attack with the Thundermaw Hellkite and the Messenger, and Steve at this point would have to block the Messenger, and it would deal the final 2 points of damage. But from what it looks like, Adam drew a black card, probably just a 1 or 2 drop creature. If it's another Jarros Messenger, then things are looking good.
So thinking about attacking with this Messenger, doesn't want to just get it eaten by the Boros Reckoner for no extra gain.
Yeah, I mean, he can't just give it first strike at this point, and so he's not even going to be able to get it off the table. Whereas earlier, if he had offered up the trade, he would have been able to get the Boros Reckoner off the table, which is possibly a mistake by Adam, but I can understand that whole Boros Reckoner stigma, where you do have ways in your deck to kill it that don't involve you getting 2 for 1, but you're not even really getting 2 for 1 because the Messenger still comes back, still domes your opponent for 2 life, and gets bigger.
Right. It's kind of like what we were talking about yesterday, how everything in Magic now is kind of a 2 for 1. There are no more strict 1 for 1 decks that just 1 for 1 you a million times. Not so much.
Right.
Everything has value.
Yeah, and that's one of the cool things I like about Standard right now is that if your opponent gets a 2 for 1 on you, it's not the end of the world. Whereas like back in the day, you try to use a giant growth type effect on your creature and your opponent lightning bolts in response, like you're just dead.
Right.
Now it's we're back and forth with these like either 1 for 1 kind of removal spells on these creatures that generally gain 2 for 1s. But the way that you win the game is by this giant uncounterable or giant monster like a Thundermaw Hellkite or even like Sphinx's Revelation from the control decks. And it's not really about 2 for 1s anymore. It's about 8 for 1s.
Exactly. Even these super aggro decks have these powerful cards that are just worth any number of cards from your opponent. And
but
that's pretty cool.
I think this is kind of an interesting development here. Steve looks like he is holding a Hellrider and a Mountain. And if he has Hellrider Mountain, he can keep the Messenger from blocking, I believe, or the Night of Infamy. I'm not sure which he would prefer. And the Hellrider will deal 4 damage, putting Adam to 8. A subsequent block on the Boar would still result in him taking 8 damage. So maybe I misread his hand. I thought that he had land Hellrider, and if he did, and Adam didn't have a removal spell, then that would be game.
Well, it looks like he's taking the more conservative route here, thinking about just the Boar.
Oh, no, he's got it. I think he's going for it.
Wow.
Yeah, he saw it. Oh, he passes the turn. I guess he's afraid of a removal spell. That would result in his death if he attacked and Adam had any removal spell. A Tragic Slip, a Victim of Night, a Searing Spear, any of those cards would have just ended the game for him should he have, moved all in. But, he's at a low life total. I don't think that's the right play. I think I would have just went for it and hoped my opponent didn't have anything because, you know, he's been playing pretty conservatively. He hasn't tried to kill creatures and attack for a lot of damage.
Wow.
So now he's attacking with the Gravecrawler with a trigger from Knight of Infamy, so it's going to be a 3 power. If Steve decides to block with a Boros Reckoner, he would lose the Boros Reckoner and probably just kill a Thrill Kill Assassin, which is not that great.
So nice play by Adam, getting in 3 points while he could. Steve Kaufmann should be at 4, not 5.
Yeah, I think so, unless we missed a point earlier in the game.
There we go.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I thought that the window was last turn for Steve. I think now, with the Thrill Kill Assassin, he's got that extra blocker. He needs another haste creature or something, and at the very least, I think he probably should have attacked with the Boar last turn, although maybe the damage from the Geralf Messenger would have been too much for him to overcome. It looks like he's thinking about attacking this turn with it, but...
Yeah, you know, every turn that he says go is a turn that Adam gets closer to Thundermaw, gets closer to Falconwrath, another Geralf's Messenger, Searing Spear, any number of things. I think you're right. I think he should have just gone for it last turn.
Well, he may have drawn a Searing Spear here, and this may be why he's attacking Adam, you know, for now. So he's going to use the Firefish Striker, keep the Knight of Infamy from blocking, more than likely. It's possible he'll make the Thrill Kill Assassin not be able to block, or the Messenger, so it doesn't deal him an extra 2 damage. Alright, so he's got 2 blockers. He's probably just going to put them in front of the Boar and the Hellrider, killing the Hellrider, obviously, with the Thrill Kill Assassin. Adam will take 5 damage down to 3, and if Steve Kaufmann has that Searing Spear, you know, he had it last turn on the board to just kill him, so he's basically running into the same plight now that he would have ran into last turn, where he's just going to lose to a removal spell. I don't really understand the wanting to wait an extra turn. I can understand not wanting to, you know, risk yourself, but then, you know, the next turn you're just in the exact same position and you just have to go for it again. But you've given Adam another draw step and, you know, another chance to kill you already.
Exactly. Adam is not going to tap out unless it's for a spell that kills you, if you're Steve Kaufmann here.
Yeah. We definitely know that the card Steve drew was not Pillar of Flame. I think he would have exiled the Geralf's Messenger immediately, and then that would have made his attack lethal as well. But yeah, we're just going to see damage down to take 5 down to 3. Let's see if he's got it.
Well, doesn't look like it. He's binning his creatures. We're resolving combat. Oh, maybe.
Nope, just the 3-drop.
3-drop.
Another Boros Reckoner.
Okay.
That ain't bad. He can block the Gravecrawler if he attacks with both and not die. However, if he does block the Messenger, actually no, the trigger from Boros Reckoner should resolve before the trigger from Geralf's Messenger. But any haste creature, any removal spell from Adam should be game over. So these guys just throwing blows back and forth.
Yeah, you know, it would really shock me if Adam has bricked this many turns in a row on something like a Searing Spear, Pillar of Flame, a haste creature, Geralf's Messenger, anything.
Yeah, and this is really tilting me because I can't see any of the cards in Adam's hand. He's got 3 cards in hand, so apparently he just drew a Swamp. So, yep. So Steve makes the correct block here, taking 3 from a Messenger to try not to die. Giving first strike out, although does not seem correct because, all right, well, looks like that's the game. The first strike didn't end up mattering, but he could have dealt 2 points of damage to Adam with the Boros Reckoner's ability should he just let damage resolve.
Right.
All right, so that's 1-0 to start it off for Steve Kaufmann. You know, I think that there was that one turn where he should have just Alpha Striked, and he gave Adam 2 more draw steps, basically by not doing it right then. Probably a mistake, but I can definitely understand. Looks like it's trivia time.
Woohoo!
Trivia
I love
time.
trivia time.
What's the question? Do you know the question?
I sure do. So
well, I wonder if I know the answer.
if you guys don't know, we give away 3 months of Star City Games Premium in the top 8, which we already gave away. 6 months in this round, and in the finals, if you keep watching, we're going to give away a full year of Star City Premium.
A whole year?
An entire
You're
year.
just giving it away for free.
Well, I'm not giving it away. It's really more Pete that's giving it away.
Okay, sure.
You know.
He's such a nice guy.
Puts on this whole show for us, gives us a job.
You know,
no complaints.
good man.
So anyways,
what's the question?
This question, there are 2 Star City events next weekend. What I'm looking for is either one. One is a classic in my hometown, which extra points if you guess that one. But the bigger one
is that like Alaska?
I can't say. I can't give away the answer. It might be in the Northeast. So one's a classic.
There's no clues.
One's a classic in the Northeast. The other one is a full open weekend with Standard and Legacy, and that one is in your neck of the woods.
Well, we've already, talked about me being from Alabama, and you just lied.
Well,
'Cause it's not in Alabama.
Up in the Northeast, the states are a little smaller. I'm close to like 5 states.
It takes me 4 hours to drive one state over. It takes you like one.
Exactly. 1 hour gets me to like 3 different states.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
We're looking for either the Classic in my hometown or the Open that's in the Southeast.
And if you do want to win that 6 months of premium, make sure that you put SCG Premium hashtag and tweet at SCG Premium hashtag.
Exactly. That's the only thing you really need.
Right. You don't need to put SCG Live. You don't need to put anything else. Just make sure you have this hashtag SCG Premium with the answer, and you might win yourself 6 months of premium.
Exactly. You don't have to be the first one to tweet it in. You don't have to be the last one to tweet it in. It's going to be chosen at random from everyone who tweets it in. So make sure you get it in before this top 4 match is over.
Yep.
And you could win.
Well, that could be the next 5 minutes, so you better hurry. All right, so just a quick update on the other match. Tyler Phelps is up a game against Robert Rush, I believe. That's the Jund matchup versus the Bant Hexproof.
Yeah, which really surprised us. We thought that Rob had a great matchup in game 1.
Right, but that's one of the problems with Bant Hexproof is sometimes your draw just doesn't really pan out. You don't have any control over it. A lot of your cards don't necessarily work together. You could draw all creatures, no enchantments, or vice versa, or just mulligan to Oblivion.
Exactly. So, I mean, you open these hands, it's like Geist, Stalker, 1 enchantment, and then all lands. You keep it. Your enchantment gets killed. You don't draw any more. That's game.
Yep. So let's go and take a look at the sideboards for Steve and Adam and figure out exactly what we think they're going to do. So from Steve Kaufmann's side, I really like Markham Muni in these aggro matchups. If there's a point where you can steal, a Falconwrath Aristocrat, your opponent either has the option to sacrifice it to make sure you don't attack them with it before you sacrifice it, or you can maybe steal their Thundermaw Hellkite and deal them 6 damage, but normally you're just going to take something like a Jarl's Messenger.
Yep, and that is oftentimes good enough.
Yeah.
On the other side of the board, what does Adam have?
Adam has, let's see, a couple of Dreadbores, maybe Gloom Surgeon. That seems like that might be something they could bring in. Dreadbore is like an okay removal spell. It's a little slow, but there are a reasonable number of creatures from Steve Kaufmann that Adam really needs to kill. The main one being Boros Reckoner, because once he gets that out of the way, it's going to be smooth sailing. Bonfire of the Damned, I don't think he can really afford to bring in. Cremate doesn't do anything, and Sever the Bloodline is very, very slow. From Steve's side, other than the Markham Mutiny, I don't think he really wants to bring in anything else. There's a small argument for a Volcanic Strength because Adam does have 4 mountains. It's not a very good argument, but Alright, so looks like our players are drawing their hands for game 2. Let's see if anybody decides to take a trip to Paris.
Well, it looks like Adam's keeping.
Alright, looks like we both got 7 Cartel. Should be a pretty fair game.
Hey, there's the mountain from him.
Yep, there. that would make that Volcanic Strength look mighty fine.
I have to compliment Steve Kaufmann on these classy Odyssey mountains.
Yeah, those look nice. That was actually one of my favorite pictures back in the day, and I remember specifically trying to get 20 to 24 of the same, basic land whenever I would play a monocolored deck, and I did play goblins a lot around that time period, and I would always try to make sure that I got the coolest picture. And the one with snow on the mountain, it's pretty sweet.
It is.
Gotta admit, I like that picture a lot.
You don't see those mana bases too much anymore. 24 mountain.
Yeah. Well, this one's only like
special.
20 or 22 or something.
Yeah.
So, and he also has a bunch of dual lands. So you do see the 20 mountains every now and then. So some, especially on Magic Online. But
right. Little Sandy Dog special.
Yeah. So Steve Kaufmann doesn't have a 3rd land drop, but his hand looks like it's full of gas, even though Adam looks like he's got a smooth draw, but he's playing a naked Falconwrath Aristocrat here, and it looks like it's just going to get Pillar Flay from Steve Kaufmann.
Right, the Pillar took out Adam's first play, which was the Night of Infamy.
Which was pretty bad for him last game, since his Boros Reckoners were getting stifled by it.
Right. And it looks like Pillar's going to take out this one. Steve Kaufmann has no shortage of removal this game. The question is, does Adam have any follow-up play? His opening was really lackluster. Maybe that means he has a Hellkite.
So this is actually pretty interesting. So Steve, instead of since he didn't have a 2-drop to play, and he did draw the land, Steve actually opted to Searing Spear the messenger, and I'm sorry, the aristocrat, and saving the pillar flame for the Gerald's messenger should have come down later in the game.
Yeah.
But the second naked Falconwrath aristocrat from Adam is probably going to hit this pillar flame.
Yeah, so Adam's just hoping that Steve kept a creature heavy hand, not a removal heavy hand, but unfortunately for him, Steve has 3 of his 7 removals.
Yep, and the land from Steve means he's going to be able to play Boros Reckoner on top of the Pillar Flame, so this game is turning much more heavily in Steve's favor, but Adam still has a lot of, big draws to really dig out of it, Thundermaw Hellkite being the primary one.
Right, really tight play from Steve last turn, playing the 2 mana spell, so that this turn he can play the 3 and the 1 mana spell, exactly enough mana, maximum use of his resources.
Right.
Well played.
Yep. I mean, that's a pretty common mistake. Pillar Flame has 2 uses, which is nice. And a lot of players, they'll be like, well, Searing Spear does more damage. I'll use the Pillar now so they'll get to Spear later. But just using, like you said, using your mana resources every turn is very important, especially in these matchups where, you don't always have the time to untap and still be able to use a removal spell and cast a creature. And it looks like Steve played it perfectly.
Yeah, so Adam just ships the turn right back. If he doesn't have something like Victim of Night Tragic slip here, this game's going to be over for him really quickly.
He really needs something, and honestly, if he doesn't have anything, he's just dead. And he needs 2 things really to take control of the game. Steve doesn't have a green source for the Blood Rush on his Gorkon Rampager or his Flinthoof Boar. Oh, but he looks like he drew a Temple Garden, so he's contemplating... This is strange. I thought he drew a Temple Garden.
Oh, so Adam says, no, go back in your attack step, Spear the Reckoner, and that's...
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so Adam, so he was playing around Gorkon Rampager, but there's no green source in play, so I don't understand that. The Temple Garden in his hand, just maybe he wants to play a tap so he takes 2 less damage. Or he just wants to cast the Gorkon Rampager.
Wow.
Honestly, I didn't even think. I mean, that's, and I think that maybe that's a better play than just playing the board and attacking and holding on to the Gorkon Rampager. The extra 4 damage is important when your opponent's at a low life total, but at this point, just having a 4/4 trampler is huge.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. It's you so rarely see the Rampager played as his 4/4 form,
right.
But right here it's better.
Yeah, and I was so confused why he didn't play the Temple Garden pre-combat, and then he showed me. He's just putting Big Daddy into play.
Yep.
All right, so here comes a 3rd Searing Spear from Adam, but his tank's empty. We're gonna take a swing for 6, putting Adam to 4. He really needs a he needs a Victim of Night or a Dreadbore to kill this guy, and he didn't draw it, so that's gonna be the match for Steve Kaufmann, 2-0.
Congratulations, Steve. 2 pretty tight games, but